Hey, what's up? John Patrick Morgan here. I want to share with you how you can make more money than you need. And I'm not coming at this with like business strategy. It's not really about how to make more money, some kind of what you do out there in the world. It's specifically about making more than you need. And the way that I want to answer, the path that I want to give you, is an internal path. It's an inner path, because I think that this is actually the obstacle to most people, especially the ones that I meet, that want to make more money than they need, but they don't ever seem able to. They're able to make the money they need, but not much more than that. And if their needs go up, then their ability to make more money goes up, but it never breaks what they need. And I think it's because, from what I've seen, is that people who can't make more money than they need have the idea that if they were to make more money than they need, then that would not be good in some way. And everybody's got a different reason that that's not good, but there's a common theme. If I were to make more money than I need, then that would mean something about me or my life that hurts. So one of the questions that I like to ask in this situation, which I have to give credit to psychologist Robert Keegan for the question, is what would be your biggest worry if you did make more money than you needed? What would be your biggest worry if you made more money than you need? That's a way to get you to start to look in the direction of the internal obstacle, the fear, the concern, the anxiety about the outcome, the result, getting the result of making more money than you need. Because the idea is, if you can make money already, and you make as much as you need, and when what you need goes up, you make more. And the problem is not making money or even making more money. The problem is the idea that making more than I need is not okay. So what am I worried about if that were to happen? I really challenge you to look at this. If this has been a thing that's been showing up for you, you always make just enough, but no more than that. What would that mean? What's the threat? What's going on there? I'll share some typical examples of what people locate and find when we look under this rock. What would be my biggest worry if I made more money than I need? Oh my God, my friends, what would they say about me? Right? What would I do? I would have to hang out with different people. They couldn't keep up with me. So there's some kind of break in our social group that feels threatening, right? And this is a very common thing that you need to face if you're going to continue to grow in the world. Like one of the limiting factors on all forms of growth is the fear of outgrowing your social group. If I grow in such a way where I don't fit in anymore, then it's safer for me not to grow. But two things. Number one, just because you grow doesn't mean you have to grow out of your social group. You can take people with you. That's the first thing. Then the other thing is growing out of a social group isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's time for you to move on. Now you're really serving them by staying with them as an expression of your sacrifice and your own capacity to grow. You're just contributing to keeping everybody from growth. If everybody's doing that to some degree, because everybody's afraid to leave the tribe just to go get something greater in the world, to be something greater, then everybody's acquiescing their power. What would be my biggest worry if I did make more money than I need? Well, I would have more power, and I don't trust what I would do with that power. I wouldn't treat people very nice, or I'd take advantage of people. Or maybe I'd spend money in a way that seems superfluous or luxurious or superficial. I don't want to be that. So the fear of some person we might be if we had the power to express that aspect of ourselves, that's a common one too. So what do you do there? Well, if you're afraid of it, then this little part of you that believes that it's true on some level, and you hate that, and it's wrong, and it's bad. And so until you can own up to the darkness in yourself, to what you even might call evil, that superficial bullshit, then it owns you. My friend James often reminds me, I forget who wrote this originally, but of that statement, that idea, what you cannot be with will not let you be. And so if there's an aspect of yourself you cannot be with because you can't stand to even consider that that might be an aspect of who you are, that superficiality, like, oh, I don't want to fly first class. Those, ugh. You walk through first class on the plane and your little micro judgments of the people as you walk by. I'm better than them because I don't need that. It's like, where does that come from? Other than a deep yearning and wanting for that. Otherwise, you wouldn't even notice. You'd have nothing to say. And so, what would be my biggest worry if I did make more money than I need? What would that mean about me? What would it say about me? There's a very popular, culturally conditioned idea that to make more than you need is not good for the world, right? There's a big, like, hey, be sustainable and that's it. It's an idea, and maybe this is controversial, but I don't really agree with it. You know, I think sustainability is a layer of meaning that people apply to nature, but if you actually look at nature and its impulse and its like, take a seed. I'm looking at a palm tree behind the camera here. I don't know what a palm tree seed is called. Coconut. There's none on those trees. But take an acorn. An acorn does everything it can to become an oak tree. It's not going to let anything get in its way. It's going to do its best. It's going to push its roots into the ground, around rocks, through dirt. It's going to reach up to the sky. It's going to take every little drop of water it can, every like little photon of sunlight, and it's going to become its most highest expressed capacity. It will live its entire life trying to do everything it can to be its biggest and its best. And I see that in all life. You know, like, it's not like, hey, let's just get what we need to get by. No, let's thrive. Let's do our best to be our best, to create. The purpose of life is to give life. We could say the purpose of life is to create. The purpose of life is to give life, is to advance life, to increase in complexity, and to bring energy and create matter, and to just fold and unfold and grow, right? And so if that's like capping your growth, it's like getting a tree and putting it in a house and putting a roof over it. I mean, it's like, isn't that sad when somebody does that? I mean, I've seen trees grow roots and then crack rocks. It's like, life wants to expand. That doesn't mean that you have to take advantage of people and that you can't also honor the aspect of life that's within you, which is altruistic and cooperative. And we could say that looks like sustainability. But I think it's important to acknowledge that life wants to be abundant, that life wants to be as big as it possibly can. I'm not talking big in the American SUV, triple XL Slurpee big. I'm talking big in the sense of expansion and greatness and grandiosity, and we see beauty and we see possibility and we see going to the moon and we see going to the deepest parts of the ocean, or exploring the solar system. It's like, that's what I mean by big. It's like, don't just stop where others have stopped. Keep going. And so connecting with a different idea, a different worldview about what your purpose is in this life. Your purpose is not to get by. Your purpose is to be an ever-expanding life form. In the early days it was like cultivate fields with plants, have as many kids as you can, and now it's changed form. It's become more mimetic, fiscal, products, forms of all sorts of shapes and sizes. Create. I said to a friend yesterday, it's not like an apple tree is like, let's just do what we need to get by. Like, one apple's enough. No, an apple tree's like, I want to make as many apples as I can. By making more money than I need, what do I do with that money? Well, if you just sit on it, that'd be like an apple tree making apples, and then they all get sucked back into the trunk. And the trunk gets all filled up with apples. No, the apple tree grows, it makes all the apples / money that it can, and then it just drops them to the ground. It gives them back to the earth. And then it grows the next season even bigger. As an avocado tree behind me. More avocados, back to the ground. And then more, and then back. And it's a cycle. And so if you make more money than you need, but you be part of the system and you feed that back into the system, you're like a tree that's growing bigger and giving more fruit every year, I'm not saying make it and hoard it and hold on to it. That doesn't give life. That's just becoming all right, there's some retaining is necessary to grow bigger, but overall, the point of creating more is to give more. And I think most people who create more give more. It's the expansion of life. So I've spent quite a bit of time on an alternate cultural worldview, but I think that's actually useful too, because this is a deep obstacle for people. The way they subconsciously see the world, the way they've been taught to see the world, not intentionally, but just subversively through the way that the people around them do. You shouldn't have more than you need. Don't eat more than you need to eat. That's a good idea. But as far as the overall picture of giving life, you really want to create at your highest capacity. Hear my little boy coming, so on that note, I'm going to focus on him. Go make more money than you need. Ask yourself the question, what would be my biggest worry if I did make more money than I need? Find it. Change it. Let it go. Create. If you'd like support in that, I'd love to be in conversation with you about that. I can help you locate what it is that's in the way. We can remove it, and you can be free to take this capacity to create money that you already have to infinity and beyond. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon.